Okay, I need to do a few more little things to this humidor. I still don't have my door. I'm hoping to get it ordered this week. The first thing I did, get this thing to focus, is I measured. I didn't have any lighting in here, so I measured the distance from the floor just up inside this little edging to the top of the door and across and down the other side, and it turned out to be just right at 16 feet. So I went out and I bought me one of these LED ribbon lights, and it's a daylight 6500K, so it's a nice color spectrum. And all I did was go in with little nails and nail this in and then bend them. It starts down here in the corner. There's my cord. I need to sort out my cords. I want to put a switch in or something on this. And then it goes underneath the door and plugs in down there. It's really hard to see right now because it's so, it's really bright out today. I mean, with the ambient light. But it really gives a nice subtle tone. It's not real bright. It's not dark. It really lights it up nice. So I'm really glad that I did that. Another thing I want to do today is I need to get this threshold thing done. Something that will go across here and get rid of this gap. I need to run from one side to the other, so I'll have to notch it out so it's on here and here, overlap on the carpet, and screw it to this. And I want to do it in cedar. Problem is I don't have much cedar left, and the only thing I have that's at length is only 1.5 inches, but it should still work. The other issue I have is the door. Unless you special order, the doors come 80 inches, and that's what this door is 80 inches. Well, it's quite a ways off the floor. They do that on purpose so that you can make sure that your air conditioning and your heating will circulate throughout the entire house. For some reason this thing shut off. I'm not sure if my battery's getting low or what, but anyway, as I was saying before, the 80-inch door is not tall enough to cover this entire hole, and I need to make sure that this doorway is sealed so that we can hold our humidity. So whether I add on to the top up here and lower this 1 inch or 1.5 inches, or whether I build it up on the bottom, or whether I add to the bottom of the door, I'm not sure. So we'll figure that out when we get there, but for now I'm going to work on this little threshold piece. I'm going to work on this, putting another shelf in here and building a couple brackets. If the shelf doesn't look good, I can always pick up another 1x10, just lift those pieces out and put a full shelf in. And if I do that, I'll probably do all three. So I will head down to the shop and we'll start working on this project. Okay, my plan for a threshold, this is how it sits. The long part is 28 1/4, the short part is 26 7/8. So this is the board that I have. It should be wide enough. I have it marked to cut it off at 28 1/4. I'll do that on the miter saw. Once I get that done, then I'm going to notch this out with a jigsaw so that the inside is only 26 7/8. After I do that, to get rid of this sharp edge here, I'm going to set my table saw at a 45 and take off this little edge here and take off this little edge here. That'll give it a rounded finished look. And then I will pre-drill holes all the way across here fairly often and attach that to the floor. And the screws I'm going to use for that are these. I pick them up at Bernard's. They're actually like a deck screw, so they are waterproof, so humidity won't touch them. They are a little Torx head, and they're a finished Torx head. Same thing I used on the floor. So that is what I'm going to do now, and then once I get this all done, I will add more to this later. Okay, I have this board cut. It is notched out, and what I'm going to do now is set a 45 on the table saw and take off this little edge on both sides. what that did, wait till that gets cold. What that did was take these corners off here and here, all the way along there. I do need to sand it, but that will give me a nice looking little threshold that will not have edges sticking up on it. I don't know whether I'm going to add more to this to take up that distance between here and the bottom of the door, or whether I'm going to add it to the door. I'm not sure, but I think this will work for the first part of the threshold. So I'm going to sand this down and mark out and pre-drill all my holes, pre-drill the countersink, and go upstairs and put this in as a threshold. Okay, in order to sand this, all I've done is take some sandpaper, put it on a block of a 2x4, staple it in, gives you a nice little sanding block, and just keep working each edge until you get it nice and smooth and there's no edges. Also, you want to touch up the end so there's no little splinters sticking out. I will not be finishing this since this is raw cedar and I don't have to. If you were doing a threshold for a regular door, you would then probably put some stain on it or something like that. So all I need to do now is get a pencil and a tape measure and mark my holes and pre-drill all those, pre-drill the countersink portion and take it up and put it on and see how that's going to look. So we will do that and then I'll add more to this later. Okay, I had to take the door off to put this in, but there is my threshold. Sits right over the edge. I need to sand on top of those screw holes, but I put those in so that they would be flat and screwed it straight into the cedar. And then on these corners I came in from the other direction. So it makes a really nice threshold. I think it looks pretty good. Now I just need to decide what I'm going to do about the door being just a little shorter than the opening. Okay, I don't know if I'll leave this in there, but this shelf wasn't long enough, so what I did was I pieced some cedar on the end, and this is actually going to be in the corner, and there will be a box of cigars on it. So I really don't think anybody will ever see this. If it is an issue later on, I'll pick up another board and just replace it, but for now it will work. What I did was I cut it to length, and I had to piece this in here, and in order to connect it, I just turned it over and used a staple gun and stapled it all the way along there, and I also stapled it on the back side where a person will never see it. So now what I'm going to do is I have cut my little edging piece the correct length. I pre-drilled all the little holes all the way across, and then now I will go ahead and nail that in there. Once I get that done, I need to make 2 shelf brackets for here and here, and then I will put this in up there. So I'll add more to this later. Okay, I have my shelf brackets on the west end on top. Use a little bit longer screws on these, a little shorter on these for the shelf. They're the exact same distance from here to here as they are on the other side, so that they do match. So, my board that I pieced together, like I said, if it's an issue that it's pieced together, I will change it over time. But frankly, all you see is that little piece there. And if you put a box of cigars in the corner, you're never going to see it. So I think it's going to be fine. I really do. One thing I am doing is I'm putting a little block of wood behind each box in order to taper them a little bit, kind of like so. And then that makes it look like that. That tilts it just a little bit. So what I'm going to do now is I will square these off coming this way to make sure these are straight and square out from the wall from here to here, move in this direction, and then I will screw in these 2 here. And once I get that done, then I will have this little project done. Okay, I got my shelf done on the east end on top. I think it looks very good. I will probably not put any here because I need room for my humidification system. I did put a few empty boxes in here. They are empty, just to kind of get a feel for what it's going to look like when I do get cigars in here. The bigger ones are on this end. I think it looks very good, and I'm excited to get my door and my humidification system. So that is pretty much the video for today. I think it looks pretty good with that other shelf in there. And I got these three on this end. So when I get my door and my humidification system, I will add more to this at that time.